Hey everybody, ECW fan, the collector here, and welcome to another monthly movie pickups. Yep, it's coming to you in April, and I didn't really plan to do this, but I picked up a lot of movies on my flea market trip, the video that you saw last week. I picked up a lot of movies in all through March, so at the pawn shop, thrift shops, and Goodwill, so you're going to see it. And speaking of Goodwill, I have to say this. I made a mistake.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
I made an error. Yes, even the grand mamma jamma of collecting himself has made some errors. And I should show it off, but I threw it away. I was too disgusted to look at it, okay? In a video that's going to come out eventually, in a solo mention, because I'm putting some clips together. I've had to bump videos around, but you'll probably see it around June, possibly. I went to Goodwill in the same trip that I made the flea market video. So I filmed some clips there. And I picked up a classic Looney Tunes, Platinum 4. And I was like, holy crap, I need this one, because I've got 1 and 2, and I need 4. And all I will need to get is 3. And I was like, okay, this will give me... But my mistake was, there's like a little bit of plastic underneath it. So, and it had the slip cover over it. I said, oh, this is cool, this is new. Because sometimes Goodwill will have new movies. I picked up a couple movies over time that people don't open and just take to Goodwill. My mistake. I got home and I was like, I got to see this one. I could possibly open it up and look at it. Well, when I pulled the case off, it was just, I was sitting there and I looked at it and I realized it had been opened. And I was like, oh crap. Because you always check your movies at Goodwill or at anywhere you go. Check for condition and check if your movies is in there. Well, folks, there was one movie left of the classic Looney Tunes. The other movie was TMT. The other 2 discs was gone. And I was like, for $3. They raised our prices at Goodwill to 3, and I was like, oh crap. But I can't really kick because I got another movie that I actually did check because it was, I could tell it was, it had been opened before, and I checked the disc quality, and I got me a shelf, so I can't really complain. So let's go ahead and get to the movies here, okay? I got a couple comedies, and one of them that I picked up, I think this came from the pawn shop, is The Nutty Professor. Yes, with Jerry Lewis. The original Nutty Professor. And I've been looking for this one for a while. And you can see that he becomes a smooth ladies' man on the back. Yeah, I've always been wanting this one and a couple other Jerry Lewis movies. And they had another one, but the condition wasn't that good. But this one was really good. It's got special features. This is from this, Jerry Lewis collection of movies. So that's kind of cool. Now, another horror film, or horror comedy. This is really not really that much of a horror comedy, or horror film, actually. It's more of a comedy about a guy that makes a deal with the female version of the devil. It's Bedazzled, with Brendan Fraser. And Elizabeth Hurley gives him his, gives him various different points of his dream life. But they all have curses. Like he becomes a big sweating basketball player and the guy just drenched and she's attracted to him. That's why she's doing that in a way. And it's a good movie. It's a good comedy about, maybe you shouldn't, make pacts like that. Now, speaking of horror comedies, and I've got the first 3 of these on a set. Me and Eddie was actually talking about going to the 6th one in June. We're going to actually go see the 6th movie of this in June. It is Scary Movie 4. Now, at this point, the Wayans brothers had left. And if you pull up Club Shay Shay from an interview with Marlon Wayans from a year or 2 ago, he discusses how they pretty much pushed him and Sean off the series. They pretty much pushed him and Sean off, and it was just by the 3rd one, him, Sean, and Keenan had been pushed off the series. They used ideas from the 3rd one for the family, but The fourth and fifth and sixth one basically, by the fourth and fifth movies by that point had basically sunk. They just weren't as good. And now that the Wayans is back, they're doing the sixth movie. Everything seems like it's getting back on track, getting back together, buddy. The band is back together. Now the first two are really great movies, and I watched the first one the other night, and it was really great. Now on these next one, these are action movies, but you may have seen me one action series, sci-fi action series. You may have seen me pick up this series, this movie in a solo missions vlog. I believe I filmed it, but this was brand new at the pawn shop. It is Tron Ares, actually, brand new. I told CJ about this. It's Blu-ray DVD, 4K DVD. I can't believe that, a 4K Blu-ray, brand new. Even though this movie bombed, it just come out just recently, and I've got all the Tron movies on DVD or Blu-ray, so that's kind of cool. Now this one I may have filmed too, and this one was actually $3, and it's actually the first season of Fringe. I actually got this from the thrift shop, and Eddie's told me this series is really good. I actually used to see this advertised on the sci-fi, on the Fox, the Hulu app, all the time. And this is it. Just look at that little floating cover. I love that. Fringe had a good sci-fi premise, and I actually never did really finish watching it. And I should have realized what it was. It was like the Fringe, and the series actually become more sci-fi oriented. And I heard from Eddie it's really good. You know, I should have really got into it, but I never did. But I'm gonna try the first season, and the first season's on DVD. You know, it's all complete. Checked all the discs; they're all perfect. So that's pretty good. Now, this came from Cheap Thrills, and this one, which is really weird, because when I picked this one up in March, about a week or two before, me and my friend Frank was talking about these movies, and we was talking about the newest Crow, you know, Joker Crow, Florida Joker Crow, as everybody joked around about that last Crow movie. I told him, I said, I don't want to see it, as I've seen a lot of the sequels after it, but me and him just going back and forth, and he's like, you need to give it a chance. I was like, I don't give stuff like it a chance. And I just joking around with him, but I think he's wanting me to give it a chance to watch, but I never have. I've seen it on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu now, but the Crow movies, City of Ashes, Wicked Prayer, and Salvation, I've seen them all at some point. But I've been wanting City of Angels, because it was the second release film, and it actually followed an adult Sarah. How weird, you know, because he aged her up in this next one, and it was like the soundtrack for City of Angels was really good. It's just that the second movie just wasn't as good as the first, and didn't do as good. So they moved the movies to releases like this, and these two I've been wanting to watch, Wicked Prayer and Salvation. So I'm kind of excited about that. You know, it was really weird to find that in Cheap Thrills. Another one I found Cheap Thrills, and this one is just a weird buy that I picked up. I even forgot I had it. It's Little Dead Riding Hood. I forgot I had this one, and I was like, okay, that's just really weird. Why would I forget that? It's like an epic thriller in the vein of Underworld and Resident Evil. That's what they call it a version, like an epic deal between Underworld and Resident Evil. Okay, that's just weird. And another set of movies I actually picked up from Cheap Thrills, and this is actually 3 movies, and I could actually get rid of one of my I think 1 or 2 of these movies I have, so I could actually go down in movies now. It's Hostel, the 3-movie Hostel collection, and I've been looking for Hostel Part 3, and this one is the one I've been looking for. So I've got this one. This is the unrated director's cut and the unrated cut too. So I've got all 3 of the Hostel movies now, because I like to collect these series. And I think I've got a 4-movie set of the Hostel, 2 of the Hostel movies and 2 of something else. And I'm gonna check and see if I can just trade it off, because I got, it depends on what the other movie or 2 is. Now, this came from a pawn shop, and the guy actually sold this for $2. He was trying to get rid of a lot of these movies, and they had 2 story sets of this. And I always liked American Horror Story, the early seasons at times. Some of those early seasons were really good. Like half of them was really good, and they went off the rails. Because it's like they was trying to get to a finish, and they just start throwing all kinds of wild crap out. And one of them was Freak Show. And I always remember when Freak Show came out with that freaky clown. This was really one of my favorite ones. And it was like American Horror Story Freak Show. So this was kind of nice to find complete in a pawn shop. Now, moving on to another horror film. This either come out in the late 90s or early 2000s. And yes, Snoop Dogg did do a horror film. And it's called Bones. Bones. Oh, yes. I'm kind of excited for this one. Bones. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Now, I always liked this one. This was actually $1. He had put this in the dollar bin. This was not $5.95. He had this one in the dollar bin at the time. And I think they forgot to change the price, but yeah, he just charged me $1 for it. It is Countdown. There's an app for that. And this is like the Facebook movie where you're on the social media where people get killed. So this was just almost just like that. So not bad for a little dollar buy. Another dollar buy from Cheap Thrills actually was Tigers Are Not Afraid. And this one looks like a horror film. I've never seen this one, but Shudder has got some good horror films on it that they made. I've never heard of Tigers Are Not Afraid. Yeah, but for $1, I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I'm thinking about Tigers Are Not Afraid. I was sitting there thinking about Winnie the Pooh when I saw that. The spin-off of Blood and Honey. That could be, people could laugh about that one and make jokes. Possibly. But, yeah. And the last new film I picked up from Cheap Thrills, and this was really a nice one, was 28 Years Later. Yes, 28 Years Later. I've got all the 28 films now, except the latest one that came out in January. But I can't wait to watch this one. I've heard this one, Eddie went and seen it. This one's got, there's the Bone Tower in the back. That was the other sequel to that film. So I'm kind of excited for it. That's the last new film I picked up for the month. And I didn't plan to show any of these off until May, until, I went back to the flea market. I was like, okay, let me see what I can find and rock and roll again. But I got 2 Blu-rays left. And this one come from Cheap Thrills. It's $1. It was the Chronicles of Riddick, the Blu-ray. I went ahead and picked it up. I had this on DVD, so I went ahead and got me a copy on Blu-ray. The Chronicles of Riddick. Pitch Black and him was really good. I always like Pitch Black. That's a good one that he first shows up in. But I like the Riddick films. I think they're getting ready to start filming or have filmed the 3rd or 4th film in the series. They said that's a series that they're going to keep going with. So it's kind of nice to see Vin Diesel come back and keep playing that character after 20 plus years. Just another film in the Riddick series. And finally, I got this one. And this was on Blu-ray. And I think I have this. But I went ahead and got this one because out of the pawn shop. Because it's the 25th anniversary edition. And if you haven't heard, it's kind of sad. Bruce Campbell has cancer, He said, I'm a tough SOB. I'm going to make it through. I got a lot of time left in me. He said, he's taking treatments for it. And, well, I had to get Evil Dead 2, And I got this on Blu-ray. And, man, hopefully Bruce is all right, man. He's tough SOB, as he said. So, but that's all that I got from the pawn shops, thrift shops, and Goodwill. And you even heard an error I made. So there you go. Now we're going to get to the flea market stuff. Let's get to the flea market stuff. Now that second flea market trip that I made in the flea market video, the flea market fun video, which will be a new series that it'll show me going to flea markets and stuff. I hope to have so many volumes out this year, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. But in Flea Market Fun, I picked up a number of DVDs and Blu-rays. And this was my second trip. And in both trips, I racked up a lot of movies that was on my list that I had. And I'm going to be doing a TV shows list, but it ain't going to be as expansive as the movies. But I'm going to go ahead and start showing some stuff off, and because that's what you're here for. And this one actually was a 5 Academy Award nominations for Best Picture. I've seen it. It's called Frost Nixon. Frost Nixon. And at the time in the 1970s, a disgraced president, Richard Nixon, went on a show with David Frost. And David Frost was to interview him. And Nixon was trying to rehab his image and was actually doing a job of it until he uttered some wild things. And David Frost is credited for pretty much sinking that rehabilitation attempt, that interview. That's the story behind it. And it's a great movie. I remember watching it back in the 2000s. I was like, when I saw it at the flea market, I said, I've got to pick that up. I like good movies like that. Now, this one actually came from the 3 for 5 guy, and this is not a good movie, but I'm a completionist. I have the 1960s and 70s movies of this, and I have some of the newest ones. It is Mark Wahlberg, Planet of the Apes. This movie is more famous for the fact that at the end of the movie, there was a thing that Kevin Smith wrote, and it led to fireworks between him and Tim Burton over the ending of this movie. It's a 2-disc set. It's this 2-disc special edition. And I always remember the bow your head, human line. But that's it right there. That's the... I've been wanting to get that. Now, speaking of the 1970s, I went ahead and got this classic Clint Eastwood movie, and this actually came from the Goodwill at the same time I made that mistake on the Looney Tunes set. This is the other movie. This is the one I actually looked at and checked. It's The Gauntlet. I've never heard of this movie from Clint Eastwood called The Gauntlet, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Eastwood made a number of movies that I didn't really remember, and The Gauntlet is one of them. And I was like, okay, that's... first, I thought this was a Dirty Harry movie, and I was like, wait a minute, I've got the Dirty Harry movies. I've got, like, a collection set of them, right? I was like, that can't be right. And I was like, But back to the flea market, I actually picked up FX, the Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy film from the 1980s. And there's 2 of these movies that I was looking for. And I think this is about a special effects guy that teams up with a police detective about some kind of murders going on, and this is called FX. And they had I'm looking for the sequel to that. And I actually remember that Eddie's cousin, Warren, had actually picked that up and on a trip last year to... name escapes me, but we went to this trip down there to that. It's right on the tip of my tongue. On the tip of my tongue. But yeah, that 3 for 5 guy had a lot of great movies again. And I actually picked this one up because it's a documentary set, a History Channel set on the cowboys and outlaws of the Old West. Now, if my dad was here, he would love this. He would probably tell me, yeah, but let me put that in and watch that. And this one has, I opened it up, it has Wild Bill Hickok, the Buffalo Bill, the Legendary Cowboys, the James Gang, the Texas Rangers. It's got a lot of stories on the Old West. You don't really see the Texas Rangers get much attention in a movie documentary set. And they've been around, they was around for years. Texas Rangers. Now, this one is actually another Western, and I actually like the cast of this. This actually had Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott together, and this is the Shadow Riders. It ain't never been opened. Me and that old guy was talking about this one, and him was like, yeah, I love some Sam Elliott. I was like, yeah. He just never did watch it, I was like, I don't know why he never did watch it. I think he basically got a lot of these movies, and he just never did really get around to wanting to watch them. There was just so much of it, because he had a number of these movies ain't never been opened. He just had them. I think he just got them in deals, and he just never did really care to watch them. And I was like, well, I'll take them if I need them, and if they're interesting enough, Now, inside that guy, because a couple of these come from that guy inside. You might have seen me film that in the flea market. fun video, because it was right at the very end. I filmed, I think it was the last part I filmed. He had a number of shows and movies, and I actually put 2 or 3 back because I was like, I've hit my limit. I think I'm done here. I can get these next time. There's no real need to grab these. But I had to get this series. It's season 1 and a 4-disc set of The Muppet Show. Yeah. Great condition. It's the classic Muppet Show. It's the Muppet Show. And, you know, it's the classic Muppet Show. And actually, they brought there's ideas that to bring back the Muppet Show for specials. Now, this would actually come from his booth, too. This was a 8-movie set. And actually, it knocked off one of the films on my list, like FX. It is The Freshman. It's 8 movies, 8-movie collection, Captive Comedies. And I think this thing is out of print now. I believe this is out of print. It's never been, never been opened. And because I was looking on Amazon, because I was like trying to find sets like that, and I think that one, it's either pricey or out of thing. Now, this actually came from the 3 for $5 guy, and it's another movie off my list. It's The Lords of Flatbush. Actually, no, this came from inside. This came from inside. It's a 1970s movie, and it had Henry Winkler. It had Sylvester Stallone, and I think this movie's legendary. I think he actually fired, God, I can't remember who it was. Richard Gere, I believe they fired off the film at one point. I believe that was who they fired off this film. And because he got into it with Stallone. I believe that's what happened. But, yeah, inside, too, I found 2 more movies. And these are 2 DVD sets. And I was like, okay. And I was like, how much are these? And he said, oh, they're all $1. And I was like, you don't say. You do not say. And I checked the discs. Great shape. They're all there. It is the Three Stooges, 1946 to 1948. Has a number of their shorts on it. This is and I actually wanted this set because it got Shemp, 1952 to 1954. And I think Eddie has all these on a big collection set. I think I was with him when he picked it up. But I went ahead and got these because, for $1 a piece, not too bad, not too bad. And that's the last ones I got in there. Oh, wait a minute. It Could Happen to You was the last one. I'm sorry. It Could Happen to You was the last one. And I told the lady about this movie with Nicolas Cage and Bridget Fonda. And this movie was... This doesn't have a big Cage freak out. But it's more fun for the fact that he plays a cop that's a good guy. And his wife is just, to hit the lottery, and she becomes greedy. And he promises this waitress, because he couldn't afford a meal. He forgot his wallet at home. And he said, look, if this lottery ticket hits, I'll come back and split it with you. She bought him a piece of pie and coffee. And he come back, and she's like, you ready to pay the bill back? And he's like, well, more than that. And he actually handed her the ticket. He said, we hit it. And they fall for each other. They fall in love with each other because they're because they both had the same values. They like treating people good. They love their neighborhood. He just wants to be a good cop. He shows him with the kids, and it's a good story. It's a good story. And this one, now these next 3 these for the 3 for $5 guy. So this one is, I had this one originally, but I traded him to Cheap Thrills back years ago. It is the Buddy 2 combo, and this has another U and Loose Cannons, which I was kind of wanting to get these 2 back because I know I hadn't seen them in a while, and I was like, I better get that back, and I went ahead and picked it up. So that was a good one. Then you saw this one in the clip. It's Despicable Me, the first one. So I had the first 2 Despicable Me movies, and it's actually getting ready to come back for like a 4th or 5th movie. I think they keep this franchise going all the time. So that's a good one on Blu-ray. And finally, the last Blu-ray I got was Any Given Sunday from that booth, the football movie. So that was it. That was the haul. There was altogether, I'd say there's like 20 or 30 movies there, and then what I got last time. So there's a lot of good movies for the month of March and April here. And I didn't plan to do this volume, but I said instead of doing 2 different pickup video hauls, I'm going to go ahead and put it all together in one big monthly movies pickups volume. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed everything about it. And yeah, you get to hear some errors and mistakes, plus you got to see some good pickups. So thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on watching those movies. Well, I can't think of a good tagline, so just thanks for watching.